Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to Libra season. I'm Lauren Hubele, and I'll be your host here. I'm joined with my colleagues Christine and Lois, and we have Anastasiia here with us today to guide us through Libra season. Anastasiia, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Hello. I believe our Libra season will be exciting. So there is a lot to cover. Mm, do we start right away? Yeah. Okay. So Libra season begins right after a sun eclipse. And we have the sun eclipse on September 21st. And Libra season opens up on September 22nd. And that timing already tells us this is not a quiet season. So we are entering the season with some echoes, with residue, with choices that may still feel unsettled. The energy of the eclipse is still fresh by that time because it's interesting that the sun eclipse is actually the new moon. Not everyone realizes it. So a new moon always has the energy of starting, of beginnings, of going forward. But as an eclipse, and as an eclipse, as we described it earlier in the last season, it also has an energy of endings to many of us. It brings some endings and even sometimes losses. So if we are starting anything now after September 22nd, it is absolutely important that the past is truly left behind. So if to start something, we must end something. And this season, Libra season, is guided by Venus, the ruler of Libra. She's still visible in the sky at the moment, although not shining as brightly as she did through the summer. Besides, it follows the sun now. So the sun makes some aspects and involves us in some experiences, and then comes Venus and asks, "Are you sure you are doing the right way? You're choosing the right way? Are you in harmony with yourself?" So I would say that this entire season is about harmonizing, about rebuilding harmony. It will not be easy at the very beginning, but by the end of the season, by the end of the month, by the next new moon on October 21st, we should feel some peace, hopefully. Um, so let's walk through the season step by step and see how we get to this inner peace. So the first phase, I would divide it into three or even four periods. And the first period is September 22nd, October 6th. This first not season, this first period lasts from the equinox, which we have on September 23rd, and it ends right before the full moon, which happens on October 7th. And all this period is mostly about sorting things out with caution and attentiveness to detail. It has quite complex, plenty of configurations, of planet configurations. We should look at them a bit more, at each of them, and to figure out how to fit it all together. But mostly, I think that one of the main ideas is that it is a time of adjustments. Uh, the way we adjust is different, but it is a time of adjusting our lives, our what's going on with us, our decisions, and why? That's because Venus is in Virgo. Venus rules the season. It is in Virgo, and in traditional astrology, Venus placed in Virgo, it's not. It doesn't mean weakness. It's considered to be in its fall, but it means that she is working outside her comfort zone. Venus in Virgo has to pay attention to details, to rules, imperfections. She's very good in finding imperfections. She cannot simply charm and smile and harmonize. She has to negotiate, to correct, to fix. So that's the atmosphere there. And we may be seeing in these first 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, that they're filled with some agreements, testing, diplomacy. We should take attention to the small print in all the agreements, and we may also find this small print in our relationships that we are criticizing too much. So things don't flow so smoothly. They need precision. And precision is probably the word of the period, the motto of the period. Be precise. Uh, it may be not that easy to achieve because at the same time Venus is in a difficult aspect with Uranus, and it means that it is Uranus brings disruption, unexpected events, sudden turns, situations we cannot fully control. So it's not easy to be precise when you are swinging and when the ground is not so stable. And especially, I believe it can show up in relationships, in financial matters, in negotiations. On the collective level, it may also bring instabilities in markets or alliances. So it may feel like environment is unstable. So I would say stay small and flexible, and do not aim to be precise in big things and big goals. Just go small. And why why in addition why we should go small is because we have Mars Pluto square at this time. On September 23rd and 24th, Mars forms this 10th aspect to Pluto. It lasts only 2 days, the exact square, but its energy, it colors the entire period. And the energy is about intensity, pressure, hidden tensions may come up. It results in struggle, confrontation, something dangerous may happen, violent events, conflicts escalate quickly, power struggles in politics, society. It's not easy. And on a personal level, we may also feel not only these external influences, but we may also feel pushed to the edge. That we say or we hear the sharp words, we face sudden confrontations, and we see that we must fight for something. We are not sure why we should be fighting, but they make us fight. So it's not easy, yeah. And especially that Pluto, it is always a bit about the word passion or obsession. So it's like you're very precise because Venus is in Virgo. Uranus adds this instability, and you are obsessed with this precision. You want to be very sharp, and you're not so peaceful as Venus should be, as she requires. So I would say, yeah, go small, choose your battles carefully, and remember that once started, the conflicts at this time may not be easy to contain. They may develop further, even past this aspect. And also remember in the Taurus season, when it was end of April and May, we've talked about Mars Pluto. At that time, we had this opposition of Mars Pluto, and that's the full cycle of it. So if in that spring, in April, May, you faced some conflicting situation, it may develop now, it may resurface now. So just analyze, look back then what was happening, and get prepared if you have not settled all the conflicts and then. So yeah, that's not an easy, really not an easy period, and especially that it requires, I believe it requires a lot of consciousness. It requires a lot of inner will to channel all these energy into focus, into resilience. It offers this opportunity. It offers the opportunity to be strong, precise, enduring, yeah. But it can feel brutal. You may not always control it. So it really requires that we are staying conscious. And here I believe Mercury can help, because Mercury is getting out of the sunbeams. In a few days we will be able to see Mercury, and it means that like our mental ideas, our mental body becomes more clear, so clarity returns, so our consciousness is more stronger, has more power, and we can rely on it. So yeah, I believe that's what we should be doing, just as never before, because it may be a very difficult season, because right after the eclipses, right after everything was, for some of us, it was a time of change. For some of us, it was just chaos, chaotic. For some of us, it was the period of foggy information, of not understanding what's going on. And at the end of September, beginning of October, it's best to first understand what's going on, to gain this clarity, and then make some steps, make some actions. I also believe that it's a good time um, for finding the needed information, for auditing, to make some research, to analyze what was wrong, and where the lies are, where the truth are, because truth comes out at this time. It may not be pleasant, but it comes out. So if there were contracts or some agreements we didn't quite understand or were not sure of, now we may have all the facts to make a decision if we go further into these agreements, if we should be changing something. On the society level, I also think it may be the time of some leaks, revelations, some investigative reporting, and we will hear something old which is new, or new which is old. But on a personal level, it's simply a good time to review, to research, to check facts. If you have been waiting for missing information, it will likely appear at this period of time. So you see, it's quite complex. We have these surprises from Uranus, new data, hidden details revealed, changes in direction because of Uranus and Mercury. Venus wants us to pay attention to details. Mars and Pluto drive this intensity. So there's a lot going on. So it may not be easy, but if we go small, if we react to all of this with grace and gratitude, to the changes, to the news, to everything, it may be very helpful. And I really believe that the most powerful thing we can do for this period is to start it correctly. And the start is on September 22nd. And actually, I believe that we can do it also on September 21st, during the sun eclipse and during the equinox. That's the time, the day of equinox. That's the time when we naturally gather harvest and thank the nature for all we have, get ready for the winter. So I believe that if we do some gratitude practice or meditation or something like that, or just simply thank everyone for everything we have, it may help to live through this intense period more fluently, more harmoniously, with more certainty, because then we will have something to ground on, to stay on. Yeah, so that's how I see the first 2 weeks. Complex, but doable. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Sorry, I
No,
should
no,
have
I mean
probably.
it's just I mean
Yeah.
it's and it's funny because it feels like a lot from the human design perspective too, and probably very similar, but with slight differences, right? I will say that we enter this equinox in gate 46, which is the determination of the self. And so we are also, as we enter this equinox in the human design mandala, we're entering a new eighth of a wheel of the wheel. Each eighth of the wheel has this underlying flavor. And this season is the wind, the gentle, right? Wind is the movement of the air and grasses. It's this gentle influence around fertility and thinking about seeds that are blowing in the wind, right? It's like this starting energy. And gate 46 is also considered this starting energy. And you mentioned this idea of when, notice the things that you start because these are going to need to be seen through essentially, right? And gate 46 has a lot of that energy. It's very connected to this idea that what things you start, there's gonna be energy to want to finish it. And so don't start things that don't feel aligned or that aren't, within your energetic ability to manage, right? Don't overwhelm yourself. And then as we move out of gate 46 in the first 5 days or so, every other gate in this eighth of the wheel in Libra is a splenic gate. It's in our spleen in human design. And what that is it's considered it's this intuition, this survival instinct, it's our fears, right? It's really our survival on the material plane and what's safe for us and what's not. And so all of these gates are going to carry that energy, which I think is kind of interesting based on what you were saying, because this is very much the kind of energy of like, is this good for me or not? Right? Like, do I still need this thing or not? Right? Am I carrying this thing that I could put down? And I think a little bit about, even at the very highest level, this like Libra energy of like balance, right? Like, am I in balance? Am I keeping the things that I need to keep and letting go of the things I need to let go of? And so every piece of Libra from a human design perspective is going to be asking that question in slightly different ways. Um, and so I would also say you talked a little bit about the eclipse, and it is also like when it happens, the eclipse, the moon itself will be in gate 6, which is a gate of friction and conflict, right? And so I think too about just like again, this is another space where all of the things I see in human design are at the very beginning of this season are pointing very much to our own individual process, right? Like what are we doing internally to keep ourselves, safe and to keep ourselves intact and to be able to know ourselves and to also allow ourselves to use our intuition. This is kind of what I'm seeing from that perspective. Like really dig in and start to get embodied and start trusting that intuition because it's probably not like the things that are going to match what's good for you aren't going to come from the outside.
Mhm.
Right? So, and I think that's probably going to be really high on a lot of people's um just it's going to be the energy in the air, I think, for everyone. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting. It's actually not that often when this happens that we have this sun eclipse in the last degree of the previous season, and then we have already the equinox on the next day. So it's this coincidence. It's not. I believe it's not that. It's not a coincidence, because with this last degree eclipse, we're letting things go. And then with the equinox, when we start the new season, normally we should be starting and doing something new, but we still need to get rid of some things from the past. And that's where this intuition, I believe, comes in, because we don't always, as you said, we don't always get what we want. And just feel what does it mean for us. So maybe I even think that this mixture of Virgo and Libra energy is not only about looking for signs. A lot of people are looking for signs and, oh, what's going on? I have all the red lights today, so maybe I'm going in the wrong direction. But with Virgo and Libra, it's maybe not about overthinking. It's just, okay, I'm getting red lights. They need to stop. That's it. Not to overreact, not to overthink, not to look for something too much. Just accept it, and then your intuition will speak to you more loudly. Yeah. Okay, do we go further or? Lauren,
Do you
yeah.
guys have questions?
I had one thought in just like because I had this strong feeling of tread lightly because there's all of this sort of potential obstacles and chaos that are there, and that the stepping into it, even though we can make our way through it, is we really need to be paying attention to ourselves. And it's when you were talking about intuition, Anastasiia, is like that when we're not present with ourselves, our intuition doesn't come to us. So that doing something to help ourselves be present and in the moment, and with all of this going on around us at the same time. So I think that's going to take a practice, whether it's meditation or walking but just something that's bringing you right down on the ground so that you're clear on what's going on for you and not paying so much attention to what's coming at you.
Yeah. That's truly a good point for the period. Just a task for the period for all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, Lois, that what you're talking about is also not just seeing and knowing what's intuitively correct for you, but trusting, right? And so I think about this gate 46, this determination of the self. It is in our identity center, right? Each eighth of the wheel is started by a gate that's in our identity center that has to do with this higher knowing. And so the flavor of this, Libra season is about trusting yourself, right? What is right for you? Not just paying attention to what's out there, but literally trusting that inner knowing of like, yes, this is for me and this is not, right? And so, and especially in gate 46, because it's very much about our embodied self. It's about the love of the body. It's about this abstract higher love, and just really connecting in to that sense of like, yeah. My brain's got all these ideas about what's right. I have a sense of what's intuitively right, but can I actually trust the thing from that embodied space and do it, right? So I think there's a lot of support for that energy right now.
Mm-hmm. And when exactly is this gate activated?
It's from the 21st through, so 5 days, so to 25th or 26th of September.
It's perfect that it coincides with Mars-Pluto square.
Yeah, and that also from a human design perspective, I was, looking at those gates. Mars is in gate 50, which is a gate of values, and Pluto is retrograding right now in gate 60, which is this acceptance and limitation energy. And so I see, and if I looked at the line names, we've got consistency pushing up against rigidity in that space, and I'm just like, ooh, that sounds like it's going to be kind of yucky. So but again, like Mars is really asking us like what is it that you value, right? And again, going back in and being like trusting that response, like what's valuable to me and what isn't. And even if the world tells me, oh, these things are valuable, if I'm not feeling that for myself, really taking charge and saying, you know what, I'm not going to do those things because those don't meet my values. They don't match my values.
Yeah. That's fascinating how during this period we are kind of preparing for the next step. Like everything you are saying is kind of a preparation for the full moon in on October 7th. And then what we have from October 7th to October 21st, that's also the time of preparation for the next. So it's kind of, it's not the beginnings, it's not the ending, it's not the mixture, it's just going step by step, being present and preparing for something more important, something more valuable. We just need to get to it. Yeah, because then this full moon on October 7th, it's about independence, courage, and the will to act, and to say and manifest, here I am, this is my ground, this is what I'm willing to do and to fight for. So we are preparing to choosing what we are willing to fight for where we are willing to put our resources into. So it's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
So
just say about the full moon too, from the human design perspective, the moon will be in gate 17, which is a gate of opinions. And it's going to be strangely, I noticed you mentioned that there's an exaggeration from Jupiter and this
yeah,
moon
definitely.
too. And I was
Yeah,
looking at the Jupiter placement and I was like, huh, interesting. Jupiter will be in gate 62, which means that 17 and 62 form a channel, which means that at the moment of this full moon, the whole world will have their ajna to their throat defined. And so this is the gate of opinions. I mean, the channel of opinions and this channel of ordering and detail and paying attention to what it is you think and what your opinions are about things. And everybody will have it on. And so there really is this ability to speak your mind, whether it's, true or not, right? So hopefully you've really done some of that earlier work in the season to be like, what is true for me? What is not? Because you're going to have really exaggerated energy to say that, whatever that is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this Jupiter, it gives, it's a good, I believe it's a good planet in this full moon. It's one of the best planets in the full moon chart. Uh, it gives hope, it gives vision, it gives big feelings, but also this overreach and inspiration is strong, but then outcomes do not match expectations. So it may be that we are, I'm ready to fight for this, I'm ready to do it, and I have this feeling that I can do it, but then suddenly something shows us that no, not exactly. You are not really ready to do it. You don't have all the opportunities, and I believe that those of us will face these challenges that are not exactly actually sure that they're fighting for their goal. That so that's why we need to prepare and to understand what is really ours. Because in this full moon, Mars is the ruler of the full moon, but it doesn't really support it. It doesn't see it, astrologically speaking, and that means that the moon is left without guidance. It is left without direction. So we have these impulses, we have these emotions rising, we have this willingness to do something, but no clear strategy. So it's very important to get this clear strategy before that, and then use this inspiration time, and then go forward, and then you can use this Jupiter in the best sense. So yeah, so we have this these questions of what am I really fighting for? Is my impulse, is my courage worth the purpose? And we should be watching for overreaching, overreacting, overpromising. We should not assume that enthusiasm equals success. You know, like, oh yeah, yeah, I can do it. Yes, you can do it. But oops, no, you can't. It's not that easy this time. There is also the full moon is also it goes on this background, on the background of the full moon. We should be watching Venus because she is the ruler of the season, and around October 4th, so just before the full moon, she makes this nice aspect to Jupiter. So she shows all the generous, hopeful, opening doors, and she shows goodwill and agreements and so on. But then, in 2 days after the full moon on October 9 and 10, she makes in a position to Saturn, and that's a harsh aspect, especially for Venus. So that's like a counterweight. That's the time when you see all the rules, all the limits, and the cost of commitment. So it's very important to bear this in mind, because this enthusiasm may meet the obstacles very fast, literally in a couple of days. And it's also just practical to look at the agreements, at the relationships, at everyone, at all the promises that we receive during these days. Because they may feel uplifting at first, but then they either vanish or they require more from you than you thought, that your input should be bigger, that you have to carry some responsibility for it. So we are going through this from generosity of Jupiter to the discipline of Saturn. And this is actually the second period from this October 7th till October 12th, 13th, I'd say. And also what is interesting is that in this sequence that Venus goes to Jupiter and then to Saturn, it mirrors what we have had in September eclipses. There we also had opportunities open through Jupiter in the especially around the 7th of September during the moon eclipse. But then we see all the boundaries and all the things we should be ending from Saturn, especially around the sun eclipse. So it's the same pattern, but it's now followed by Venus. So she kind of plays the role of a harmonizer. She goes the same way. We have made some choices. We lived through quite difficult endings or losses in September, perhaps in relationships and career, or just some new changes. And then comes Venus, and she doesn't erase these limits. She doesn't rebuild what is already over. She doesn't return what is lost, because I've heard the idea that wait till these eclipses go, and then we have this Venus, and she will harmonize everything. It doesn't work exactly like that, but she helps us find peace with these limits. She helps us find peace with these endings. It's like she's saying, yes, the path may be narrower than I thought, than I hoped, but it's also the right one, and I can fit, I can do it. So it's kind of mitigating things. So yeah,
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I wouldn't say from a human design perspective. So Venus is in gate 6, which is friction, right? Conflict. We've talked about that before. This is like I think of the pearl like gate, right? Like this friction is required to make something beautiful, and it's a relationship gate. And Saturn is in gate 36, which these 6 and 36 are natural polarities, and so they have this natural duality, and a natural relationship between them. And so the fact that Saturn and Venus are in those spaces, it makes me think, yeah, you're gonna probably get to something good, but it's not gonna be, it's gonna be some work, right? And so, and also it wants to have new experiences, right? That's what these energies really want. They want new emotional experiences that are meaningful. And the recognition that sometimes things look not so pretty when you do that, right? So I was just gonna say, yeah, I agree with you. There's gonna be the energy here, and it's probably gonna be good on the other side, but it's probably gonna it looks like it's going to be a little tricky getting through it. So,
yeah, we should be accepting responsibility along with opportunity. So,
when I was listening to you talk about Venus and her cycle, the picture I have is the first energy feels really young, and it reminds me as a young person how I would always hatch these wild ideas with friends, and then the parents hear about it. Saturn comes in as a parent and goes, well, you're going to need money and you're going to need these things, right? And like my little bubble gets burst. I mean, this kind of feels like my whole life story. And again, of getting this energy around it. But it feels like this growing up period too. Like, and we are always on those cycles of coming back to our childhood excitement, enthusiasm, and wonder, and then the parent shows up.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's perfect. And it also fits into the idea of preparation for something, preparation for an important exam, for
Yeah.
getting out of your nest, family nest, and be independent and actually take responsibility for what you are doing. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Does anybody have anything to add, or going? Are we going?
Well, I'll just say really quickly that October 8th to the 14th, that period we were kind of talking around that space. That is a time because the sun will be entering gate 57, which is the most intuitive gate in the mandala. It's very much this very intuitive knowing, and it will be connected through the Uranus placement to the channel of this intuitive insight in the moment, right? This feeling, this need to act and knowing what to do in the moment. And also the heart and the identity center will also be lit up. So there's going to be 4 channels lit up for the entire planet that have to do with initiation, starting new things, and doing it in this very kind of spontaneous, maybe even impulsive way. And so I would just say this, October 8th to the 14th, like really pay attention because you're probably going to feel this real push to start something and it may not be the thing, right? So like really noticing if that's the correct thing for you or not, because these are beautiful energies. They're amazing. They may start amazing things, from a collective standpoint, but they're both individual channels and they're going to drive us, I think, individually, each of us, to just make some big movements that may or may not be well advised.
Yeah. And what's the solution? To see the strategy, to see where you're going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like this identity piece in the heart, like there's this there should be a sense of inner knowing whether or not this is right. Right. So noticing that energy to move and then really checking in with yourself. Like, is this really it? Or am I feeling pressure again through the splenic space that we're in Libra? Am I feeling pressure through fear in some way? Right. Like, am I fear of missing out? Am I afraid of for my safety? Right. Like checking in that you're not feeling the need to act just because there's this pressure pushing on this survival side of you, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's nice, but yeah. After that, on October 14th, we enter in much more interesting and much more graceful period. I don't know what human design says, but from astrology perspective, I believe it's the most graceful part of the month. It's maybe the most subtle. It's not that it doesn't have enough, maybe not enough aggression, but we've had too much aggression before, so maybe we don't need it anymore. It's just that if the first period was about sorting out things, yeah, and then the second one with this full moon was about over inspiration and enthusiasm and that faces reality and strict parents. But the third is about integration. In integration, all our experience, and it is preparing us for truly new beginnings, for something really valuable that we can undertake and be really sure and certain that we are doing it. Um, we're doing what we want and we have all the opportunities that are granted. And that's all mostly because on October 13th, Venus crosses into Libra. She goes from Virgo to Libra, and Libra is her own sign. That's her home, that's her throne, that's her place of dignity. And after weeks of laboring in Virgo, where everything felt critical and technical, she now moves into her comfort zone. So harmony, diplomacy, art, cooperation, they regain their natural ease. But the most important thing is that now Venus is in the same sign as the Sun, so Venus can offer the full support to the Sun. Now we have a chance to truly support our prior decisions with this inner peace. Because we are kind of forced during September and beginning of October, we are forced to make decisions without having this piece. We're saying find this piece and make it, but sometimes we are forced to do it without finding the piece because we have no other choice. We just need to act. And in the second half of October, then we have this possibility to really make a decision within a piece. It's a nice period. And here Venus also continues to repeat what the sun, where the sun was, all the steps of the sun. So wherever we could felt instability, confusion, these power struggles, Venus is now smoothing, balancing, and harmonizing. So it's like a closing rhythm, like what the sun exposed, where we felt that we have trouble with our ego, with our we made some mistakes. Venus comes and soothes this, and that's where harmony begins to settle. Yeah. So the main advice here is patience. If you felt thrown off with turbulence of the September and in the beginning of October, then you can notice that in mid-October it starts to slow down. It's not all that neat and smooth, of course. There are some things that are entering the stage and important to note. But mostly I like the period. What is probably the most, not the most, but one of the important things is that on October 16th, the Sun makes this square to Jupiter. So we have again this mood of enthusiasm that we started on the full moon. It echoes this idea of overreacting, over promising. But yet I believe that again, with Venus in Libra, we are not that prone to over-promising or to believing in big promises. Yes, governments, bosses, marketing, advertising, they may give all these great and grand visions and may tempt us or overextend, but what's pleasant is that it is not too new. We have already had a similar push during the full moon on October 7th. Now it feels milder. There are no more those harsh limitations that we could see around October 8th, 9th, 10th. So it's a little easier to stay realistic and to not to believe and to be too naive, and not to overpromise ourselves to others. So it's better. And then for the entire period, we also have a conjunction between Mercury and Mars, which happens in Scorpio for the entire period. And this is when our actions and speech align. So it's again about speaking very precise or doing what you've said, what you promised, because Mercury is a word and Mars is action. So again, if you give a big promise because of the Sun and Jupiter, you will probably have to to do it, to actually fulfill the promise. And it's not easy also because some may be too critical, and we may feel offended with someone's words. But so be careful, especially with the loved ones. But on the positive side, we have this idea of focused communication, of doing what you are saying and meaning what you're saying. And I also think that it's a good time for checking. You can check what the others promise to you. If somebody is inviting you into something and telling you how great your life will be if you follow them, it's enough to ask, what have you personally done in this direction? And then just listen to the answers, and you will see if their intentions are true and realistic or not. have they already done something, and what exactly have they done? And the same applies to your own ideas. If you have a great idea, do you see that you can undertake some meaningful actions right away? And that's the important thing, right away, immediately. If yes, just do it, and you will test the idea in real circumstances. It's kind of time for an experiment. So big ideas in the second half of October are not as bad as in the first half, but you should be trying testing them. You should be trying them and see what's going out of them literally in the first days. If you see that something is growing, that it continues to be promising till October 22nd, then maybe stay with it. Yeah, but in any way, I believe that all these things with testing and big ideas, they are much more constructive now than they were before, because I truly believe that Venus will be a bigger help, and she will help us find good solutions easier. So yeah, and then we have the new moon, but it's another story. I just wanted to ask Christine what you can add.
Yeah, no, that's true. So it is interesting. I agree with you. This part is much more, the gates that everything is are in are much more placid and calm and kind of detail oriented, and continuity is where the sun is going to be for much of that time. And also Venus will be entering gate 46. So it is coming behind the sun. It's moving into this determination of the self space, right? So Venus at this point on October 13th will be back in this kind of higher knowing space, like in a different way, not in the sun, but in its Venus energy. And so I think it would be very in some ways more grounding, I think, in a lot of ways. And the date that sticks out for me is the 16th, because as you said, the sun is squaring Jupiter, which, you know, from a human design standpoint is not a huge, like, I don't see any like huge problems there. Like I said, it's continuity and details, like what are we doing, how are we doing it, let's pay attention, that kind of energy. But on the 16th, Mercury and Mars both move into gate 1 in the mandala, which is the creative. It's the gate of self-expression. And so they are close to one another before that time, but they come in, you know, what you would say is direct conjunction on the 16th, and they stay in that space for 2 or 3 days. And so I think very much about this is the most creative energy in the human design body graph, right? This is about who you are at your core, what it is that motivates you, how you express your true self that is unlike any other true self that's ever been or ever will be, right? And so having both Mercury and Mars in that space, I could see that it might feel there may be some inner conflict a bit, but I think that whatever comes out from you at that point would probably be very aligned with your truest, truest truth, really. So it could be really an interesting time, just if nothing else, to listen to yourself. Right? Like, what is it I'm saying? Because I might actually be speaking my own truth more than I actually recognize.
That sounds like a very creative time, right? Yeah, good. And interesting. And what's about till when do they stay in this gate? Mars?
From the 16th to let me check real quick. 16th, it's quite a while actually. They're in there till the 16th to the 19th, though. So, 3, 4-ish days, depending on the timing. So, a bit of time.
I wonder what it's doing on October 21st when I have the new moon, because that's the that's the interesting point. That's when we actually start.
Yeah, that's interesting. They continue to stay in the same gate, in gate 43, which is, it's much more about like creative insights. It's about much more about like things coming through that you just had no idea, you don't know where they came from, but they're inspirational. And so it's going to be kind of a long period, actually, I think, of creativity for folks, to really pay attention to and maybe make something with, right, in some form or fashion.
Cool. I like it. I like it, how it aligns. Yeah, because the last day of the season, I also thought, should we maybe talk about this new moon in our next talk? Maybe we will repeat a little bit, but it's important to understand that we are this entire month we have been preparing for something, and that's the new moon on October 21st. And it's not so fiery and impulsive as the full moon before. It's very supportive, it's so fertile. It happens in Libra under the guidance of Venus, which is already there, and Jupiter offers its support. So everything looks so nice, and it also happens at the end of the Libra, so it's almost in the last degree. And for me, it means that it's not about ending, no, but it's about using all the experience you've gathered, so all the wisdom that we've gathered during the Libra season, we can put into this new moon. So it's a kind of a green light of the season. It's a moment to start fresh, and especially in all the Libra things like relationships, like negotiations, alliances, creative projects as well, anything aesthetic, anything beautiful, and anything that if you've been waiting for the right time to initiate something cooperative in a team or to enter in agreement, this is it. This is the time. It starts on October 21st. And symbolically, this new moon also balances like this turbulence of the full moon, where the full moon raised passions, and we didn't know without clear guidance, we didn't know where to go, but we wanted to do something. The new moon integrates inspiration with harmony. It supports our inspiration. So it's about beginning from a place of alignment. I love this moon. I really hope I'm not mistaken in analyzing it. So it's the time to start projects that involve cooperation, diplomacy, creativity, make commitments that feel balanced and sustainable. So it's not over promising. It's okay. It's wise enough. If you need to form alliances and join groups, it's also a good time to do so, to join some clubs or to start some group work. So in a way, this would be truly already for the next Scorpio season. That's what we will be doing there. But it's nice to think that Libra season ends with something promising, isn't it? It's like we have the goal reached. And yeah, I believe it's a truly good starting point if we manage to go through the months wisely enough, because it's so turbulent, it's so chaotic at the beginning. It is better during the last 10 days, like October 13th, October 21st, not even 10, 8, 6, 7, 8 days. So we need to get there with a little bit, less space like speed, but more space in us to fit all of this. It's like preparation that we're testing things and ideas, we are harmonizing our path, we're accepting it and aligning it not just with external opportunities but also with our inner yes. So perfect months to prepare for start, for a good start. Or if we do not start everything every month, we may be continuing doing something, yeah, but it's still has this energy, and I would recommend to start even something small. Just initiate a talk to a friend if you didn't talk for a while. Just initiate some social harmonizing and nice thing to do. Buy some flowers to your partner or something like that. It's also a good thing to do.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true. And I think people will be doing those things, maybe not even realizing it. So, from the human design perspective, the sun moves into gate 50 on October 19th. Gate 50 is the gate of values. It's been, we've talked about it a couple times. There's been multiple things in this space. And this is the values of like what's worth. It's a tribal thing. Like, what should we be paying attention to here, people? Like, what is a value? Who's worthy? Who should be in the group? Who should be out? Like, what's that look like in the tribe? And its opposite gate is gate 3, which will be in the earth position. Gate 3 is ordering. Like, how do we bring things into some sort of semblance of cohesiveness for this a thing that we value, right? We have to understand what we value, and then we have to bring order to it. And so gate 3 is going to light up the channel of mutation in everybody for like the entire 5.5 days. And it's going to meet gate 60 in Pluto. So Pluto and our Earth are going to come together and make this channel of mutation, which to me says mutation is all about change. It's trying to find new ways to do something. It can be very impulsive in some ways because it's sick of the old ways or it doesn't like what's going on and it wants to make any changes better than no change. But it doesn't have to be like that, right? You can also recognize that you're feeling this energy to change something and do it within the limitations. There's also this energy in this channel, like recognizing what the limitations are, what's doable, right? And what is actually sustainable and what will the tribe accept. And it's an individual energy. So I suspect people will be feeling this push to make a change either in themselves or in their environment in a way that could be disruptive, maybe either to themselves or people around them. Or it could just be, like you said, simple, like I'm buying a bouquet of flowers for myself and I've never done that before, right? It could just be things like that. Um, so I do think it's a very activating energy. And I would say just in general, over this course of Libra, there is a lot of, from a human design perspective at least, this kind of activating impulsive energy. So I'll be curious to see how that plays out individually with, for myself and for what I'm looking at out in the wider world.
Yeah, in the wider world, there could be. It's also interesting because Libra um, is the sign of alliances. So you would normally expect alliances to be um, made, but with all this aggression, with all these chaotic things, I would rather expect that the alliances will break up, or they will rearrange somehow. And again, it will probably not be too surprising because if you follow some topic, you would probably already foresee what may happen. So it's not that it is like an explosion, but it may bring some big changes in politics, in entirely in each country and internationally as well. So, and then if we look personally, the same. So you're expecting to make an alliance, to have this group work, to have this partnership, and to rely on your partners, but it's not as easy because somebody is just looking into another direction or led away by someone else, tempted by someone else. So, and it all harmonizes a little bit by at the end of the season. So, yeah. So,
Taking this in a slightly different way, idea away from politics for a moment. When I listen to both you, Anastasiia, and Christine, a storyline starts writing itself from the beginning of the season to the end, and we start in this equinox and thinking of the harvest and that whole season, the month of October, what we're doing, and as a farmer, we're gathering everything that we have grown and we're preparing it to last the winter. And we're putting potatoes out to cure and onions and putting up herbs and we're taking account for what we were able to grow. And some things will disappoint us, and some things will be in abundance, and it's not all even. But then what happens is you have all this before you, and then you know what you can make. And that brings us to that new moon in Libra is, okay, what all did I gather, and how can I make, what can I make with it now? So that's the picture I would like to take away from this Libra season.
Perfect. Nothing to add. I think that should be remembered and stick to the fridge.
And I think we should go back to a word used early on, Anastasiia, is patience. Because this all plays out in its own time and space. And we just need to be able to move with it and watch our expectations around how fast or what we want to have happen.
Yeah. Patiently counting what we've gathered. Yeah.
Reaping the rewards.
Basically, I believe we've covered everything.
Yeah. So Anastasiia, that's it for you. Thank you so much. Christine, anything to add at the tail end here? No? And Lois? Good. Wonderful. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming together. And thank you, listeners. I think you'll have a lot to ponder with this recording. We'll see you next season.